Hello and welcome to the France 24 interview. Our guest today is Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmytro. He joins us from Kiev. Thank you very much for being with us.
It's my pleasure.
This Friday, a strike in the eastern region of Zaporizhia killed scores of civilians. Russia says Ukraine is responsible. What is your response?
It's a lie. And there is a clear evidence, including the public one, that it's Russia who continues hitting Ukrainian cities, and not only Zaporizhia, but also Dnipro, Mykolaiv, and other peaceful Ukrainian cities.
Can you confirm that the strike was against civilians?
I haven't received the final information about it, but based on what I know as of now, yes.
Do you think this is a first consequence of the annexation of the Zaporizhia, as well as 3 other regions where so-called referendums were held in recent days?
No, it's a continuation of the Russian terrorist tactics to terrify Ukrainian cities and pose threat to literally every city and town and village in Ukraine, irrespective of how distant it is from the actual front line.
Right. So those so-called referendums held in Zaporizhia, Kherson, Luhansk and Donetsk, they are now formally annexed to Russia. What does it change on the ground for Ukraine?
Nothing. We will continue liberating our territories. And it doesn't change anything for the world either. We already heard a strong statement by the UN Secretary General, who clearly states that these sham referendums and the upcoming annexation are again in violation of the UN Charter and are not reconcilable with the purposes of peace and security in the world. So Ukraine will continue its resistance, and partners will continue to support Ukraine.
Right. Is this the end of any diplomatic talks? There was a prisoner swap. There was the grain deal. I mean, are you going to stop totally discussing with Russia directly or indirectly?
My president was very clear recently in his address to the UN Security Council. He said that shall Russia illegally conduct an illegal attempted annexation of our territories, and this will be, of course, the decision of President Putin personally. Talking with President Putin will make no further sense.
So the Kremlin says that any Ukrainian attacks on the annexed territories will be considered as an attack on Russia itself. Are you fearing that there will be escalation right now because of the decisions taken by Russia?
Well, we started our interview with your reference to the recent missile strikes. Russia continues its offensive operations in Donbass. We see the unfolding mobilization of additional forces. So where else to escalate? We shouldn't be afraid of this escalation. Russia is already escalating, and we should build up our capacity to deter Russia and to throw them out of Ukrainian territory.
Your deputy military intelligence chief recently said that the threat of Russia using tactical weapons was, quote unquote, very high. Is this new situation making this risk even higher, Mr. Kuleba?
Well, Russia is spreading fear. Russia tries to paralyze everyone by fear. And these hints or indications from Russia that it may use the tactical nuclear weapons is an act of desperation, because they are losing the war on the ground. We should take these indicators, these messages seriously, but we should also remember that the world has the capacity to deter Russia. And I'm confident that all other nuclear nations of the world will firmly stand against the use of nuclear weapons.
Right. What's a bit strange in this situation is that in the very areas Russia claims now its soil, they are not under Russian control. And even, I understand, in the Donetsk region near the town of Kupiansk and especially the railway hub of Liman, Ukrainian troops are actually making new progress as we speak. Is that what's happening, Mr. Kuleba?
Absolutely, and your point is absolutely right. Russia is trying to conduct an attempted annexation of territories it is not able to control.
And so are you confident that Liman, this railway hub, will soon be under Ukrainian control?
Well, you know, I only express my confidence when cities and territories and villages are already under control. But what I can say at this point is that we are progressing well in that part of our country.
Right. You criticized the new European Union sanctions packages that's being discussed after those sham referendums. Why is it not good enough for you?
It is the first time since the 24th of February that I criticize the proposed sanctions package by the EU, and I do it for a very simple reason, because it doesn't correspond to the level of threat that Russia's attempted annexation and continued aggression poses to Europe at this particular moment. We need more sectoral economic sanctions to be added to the sanctions package. Personal sanctions is a good thing to do, but as history has proven since 2014, sanctioning people is not enough to make a strong impact on Russia.
Which sectors do you have in mind, Mr. Kuleba?
Energy, banking, and nuclear cooperation with Russia and other sectors.
Right. You also publicly lashed at Germany recently for not supplying Ukraine with tanks, infantry fighting vehicles. Are you still upset at Germany and maybe at other Western countries?
Germany has made some good decisions to supply air defense systems to Ukraine and also additional multiple launch rocket systems. But it is also true that we still need to unlock the deliveries of main battle tanks and armored vehicles, as they are critically important for the offensive operations and for the liberation of our territories. That's why I said, and I continue to say it, is that we appreciate what is being given, but if we ask for tanks in order to protect Europe from Russia, then we should be given those tanks, and we will continue to insist on that.
Right. I want to also talk about other countries. Many African countries have remained fairly neutral in this conflict. So this is a European conflict. We don't need to get Russia angry. Are you surprised, maybe disappointed by that?
No, I'm not. I'm neither surprised nor disappointed. This is the reality. We have to speak more with Africa and Global South more generally. And now the mood is also starting to change there, because they realized two things. First, that, for example, the Russian aggression against Ukraine has direct impact on food security in Africa. And second, Africa has many territorial issues. And if Russia succeeds in conquering, violating territorial integrity of its neighbors, then of its neighbor Ukraine, then it will be a motivation for those in Africa who also want to reshape borders with their neighbors. So we see a growing understanding of the impact of the Russian aggression against Ukraine on African countries, and that will eventually change their policies.
Right. I want you to answer a precise point made by Vladimir Putin. He said that actually after the grain deal, the exports from Ukraine were actually going to rich countries and not to poor countries, especially in Africa. What is your response to this claim by the Russian president?
It's a lie. Facts speak different things. The majority of cargo, of agricultural cargo from Ukraine was shipped to Africa and Asia. Some went to Europe, but definitely not the majority.
Just as a conclusion, the Ukrainian authorities have said they want Vladimir Putin tried by a special tribunal for the crime of aggression. But many Western countries, the UN Secretary General, say the International Criminal Court is the right venue to render justice.
We would love to see International Criminal Court rendering justice for the crime of aggression. But there are legal obstacles for ICC to do it, and the court itself recognizes that. Therefore, we have to seek for alternative solution, and I'm confident we will find it.
Right. Just as a conclusion, do you think Vladimir Putin is showing his confidence by annexing, by mobilizing more troops, or actually it's a sign of weakness?
It's a sign of weakness, and the people of Russia will be paying for the weakness of their leader, because it will not be neither President Putin or his family members and friends, nor sons of his entourage who will be sent to into this bloodshed and who will die in Ukraine. Many Russian men will die simply because Putin cannot recognize that he is losing this war.
Dmytro Kuleba, I want to thank you very much for appearing here on the France 24 interview from Kiev, and thank you for watching it here on France 24.
Fake news. Noun. False stories that appear to be news, spread on the internet or using other media. At France 24, our job is to provide you with information that's been verified. We check sources, we check facts, we sort what is true from what is fake.
At the France 24 Observers, we verify photos and videos circulating online. If they're fake, we let you know and tell you how we spotted them.
In Fact or Fake, we dig into viral stories around Europe to shake out the truth from the trash.
Every day, the Info Migrants team scours social networks to fight fake news about the reality of migration.
France 24, news based on facts.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.